Thanks, Dan. Welcome to episode number 9 of TradeMutt's 120 Grit podcast, the podcast for the working class.
Yeah.
Today we have ex-Army personnel, Jim Morgan, a qualified electrician, and our first fan of the 120 Grit podcast on the podcast. Jim, welcome.
Boys, thanks for having me. Number one fan, apparently.
Number one fan.
What about podcast for the working class? Where did that come from? Do we know?
Where did that come from, boys?
Jim Morgan's. He's brought value to the podcast already, and he hasn't even had 5 minutes. Perfect,
Boys.
Jim, mate. Yeah, welcome. Thanks for coming in. You've got a pretty interesting story.
Yeah.
Boy from Gympie, born and bred.
Where the best are.
Where the best are.
Mickey Gould's.
Mickey Gould's from up there.
Mate, I'm actually going up to spend a bit of time in Gympie this weekend, so might not come back.
Oh, hey, a lot of people move there.
That'd be great, Jim. You can come in next week and fill Dan's spot.
Oh, we'll do.
Fantastic. So, Jim, let's hear your story. So, yeah, as we said, you're born and bred in Gympie.
Yeah, born and bred in Gympie. Yeah, obviously born there at an early age.
Shocked.
Yeah, mum and dad were working class. Dad was a linesman, so he worked for I believe it was Sequeb at the time.
Okay.
We ran a little hobby farm out near going towards Tincan Bay. Mum was a stay-at-home mum. 3 other boys. I was the oldest. Twins and a younger one. Did 13 years there, 13, 14 years there on the little farm, going to local school. And then, moved down to Tassie.
What took you down there?
I think Gympie was a bit of a rough town when we were growing up there. It was a bit of a drug problem, and I think they used to call it Hell Town.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but there's a few things going there. There wasn't many job opportunities either, and so we'd gone down to Tassie for a holiday.
Okay.
And we were down there for probably 2 months. Dad was on long service, and fell in love with the place. So
Unreal.
moved back up, sold, packed up, moved the whole family down there.
Quite a
massive
trip.
move.
Huge, yeah, massive.
A little colder down there as well.
But beautiful though.
It is. It's really nice, isn't it?
God's country.
Mm.
Yeah, really, really nice. Yeah.
How did you find that move at that early age? I suppose you would have been going to high school. Did you start high school in Gympie and then go down, or did you start high school down there?
Yeah, so I think they're a year behind, so I had to redo a year.
Okay.
And
They're a little slower down there,
They're a
aren't
little
they?
bit slow. But I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But their school, I think, is a year behind. So, yeah, I think I redid grade 6 and then, continue on. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So from the notes and stuff that you've sent through for today, you've sort of spoken about that you always wanted to join the military sort of from a younger age. Is that true?
Yeah, well, it's like every kid, like they play, cops and rombers and Cowboys, Indians. Can we still say that?
Yeah,
Cowboys and Indians?
I'm pretty sure.
It's still a game that people play, you know.
Sorry for that, guys.
Yeah.
You want to be
Straight down the line. Yeah.
You've got your work in the chemistry with the camera angle, eh? You're straight down the barrel. Love it. Yeah, no, when I was a kid, most of the time I got around, I had a gun, like in a holster on my hip, a plastic cap gun. You know what I mean? I would have looked like a complete idiot, but I just loved it.
100%. Every kid does it.
Oh,
Kid, even today, probably a bit more indoorsy as we'd like. But when we moved down there, we moved in a little cul-de-sac, so there's bushland behind us, and so me and the neighbour kid, he's my best mate now. He was actually my best man at my wedding. I think there was a crew of about 8 lads in that cul-de-sac. So we'd moved in and just populated it, just dominated that cul-de-sac.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
So, we're playing up in the bush, and it was all waterfront too. So we, had caves to play in. So there was always something going on, and probably really outdoorsy people. So when I was, getting to the end of, 11, 12, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I remember the army ads. I fell for the army ads. Helicopters, guns, everything. It's good to go.
That looks cool.
For a young 17-year-old, you're like, that is exactly what I want to be doing right now. Meanwhile, your parents are like, chewing lips. They're like, no.
Yeah.
You're 17, kid. So So I'd always had an interest in it, but Dad had done his apprenticeship in the Navy out at in Sydney. I think he was worked for a contractor out there. So he worked on the boats and that, and I think he knew a lot more was going on. He had his finger on the pulse. He said, "Oh, you can do what you want. However, I know what happens when people get out of that organisation. Get your trade first, set yourself up, finish your trade, and ask me again if you want to go, by all means, but do something first just to set you up." And it was a bit strange to me. I was like, well, it's a career. Like, I want to be in the army forever. Like, sounds good. One of my mates that I went to school with, he'd gone, he'd just signed, gone. So I was like, oh, I kind of want to follow that. I want to follow him. And the old man, he was making sense too. So went and got my trade. It was kind of, I think we were moving into the recession then. Was it 03, 04?
Yeah.
Recession-y. Hadn't really hit it in Tassie.
GFC,
that's right. Jeez. Showing our age now, boys. So I managed to get some work experience and jumped on a trade, and took me about 8 months to get an apprenticeship with the electrician. Actually, I'll confess, I went with a builder first.
Yeah, wow.
He reckons I was rubbish, so I went with an electrician. So
well.
We're not all cut out to be great boys.
No. And I mean, I guess you'd be a lot cleaner now doing what you're doing rather than working for a builder.
Soft hands.
So that period, that 03 period, that was right for my lifetime. That was as real as any military action ever seemed to be happening anywhere around the world. So when I was old enough to, there'd been 9/11 and all that sort of stuff. It really felt like this is as bad as it's ever been. But obviously there's been plenty of wars before and people have lived through it. But yeah, that was the first time that I think from my point of view that there was shit going down.
It was real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I think I just got back from Fiji when that happened from a school trip. We'd been building. I think we'd been doing cyclone cleanup or something like that, like helping re-roof a house or something. And but it didn't twig. I never knew. Oh, something's. I know that talking to older guys that I've worked with, it was the defining moment for them. Like watching those planes go into the trade center, they were like, something's going to kick off. Okay, I want to do something here. And for the guys in that I've talked to, they were like, yeah, it was a turning point in my career. But yeah, in 03, that wasn't really on my radar. Yeah, 03, 04, what's that? That was more Iraq. That kicked off, so Australia was well and truly involved. It wasn't really on my radar either. I wasn't motivated for that. I was motivated for the helicopter rides, the gun, But luckily, I listened to the old man, went and got my apprenticeship and bashed that out for, I think it took me 5 years to bash out. Funnily enough, worked with the next door neighbour, who's my best mate. His old man owned the electrical business I worked for. So
yeah, cool. Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
That would have been a handful, poor bloke. But
so you started your electrical apprenticeship straight out of school. So it would have been 18 or something like that. 17, 18.
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
And then so were you with 23 then? I suppose were you 23, 24?
It took a while actually. It took 5 years, but with breaks here and there. So I went back up to Gympie to work.
Okay.
It did get a little bit quiet in Tassie. People were getting made redundant, so I took the opportunity to head up to Gympie to work as an electrician. Yeah, just do a bit there. And then I was right into sport at the time too, so I was, probably not working as much as I should, and I was sailing. Sailing's a sport, guys.
Yeah. 100%.
But I was more interested in that than the apprenticeship. Young blokes are like, can't keep it together. They just, we're like ADHD or something.
Yeah.
I think all blokes got it.
Stuff going on everywhere.
Fingers in every pie. So I was probably a bit slow to finish mine, and it was actually a race to the finish with me and my best mate at the end of the day. I think his old man put the hard word on us and said, if you don't get this,
hurry up,
or you're getting booted.
Yeah. So what was the turning point coming out of your apprenticeship to say, oh, let's crack into the army now?
Nothing much was really changed, and I think I remember I was in a relationship. She was a good girl, but it wasn't really a direction she wanted to go either. Like I was working the dams, hydro dams at the time, working on the little Tarraleah villages. They're like, I think they're Airbnb now.
Yeah,
so
right.
We're redoing that sort of stuff, and we were just going different directions in our lives, and so I guess I was kind of interested, but it was in the back of my mind. I was like, single man's game. Yeah, but that came to an end, and obviously when those things come to an end, the old the army can be a bit of the broken hearts club. So yeah, I decided I will join. Let's go.
So that was sort of still there, that hunger or that interest, obviously, at least.
Yeah, I
The
think
excitement of the choppers and all that, the
all
laying
all
out
the
of
good
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
All the good stuff you'll never do in your career. No.
So did you go to Kapuka?
Yeah, I went to
Everyone
Kapuka.
goes to Kapuka,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So you're enlisted. You're enlisted swine like me. Your officers, they head out to ADFA and they go to Canberra.
Yeah,
they do a different path. So the enlisted, we go to Kapuka. You do your training there and your basic training, then you head off to your IETs. However, when I joined, I wanted to go infantry. They were full. It was 2010. Afghan was well and truly in full swing. The battalion that was there had just gotten back from another trip in Iraq and was basically back to backing and heading up over to Afghan. So it was busy. Everyone wanted a piece of it. Everyone wanted to get into an infantry battalion to try and get these trips. So I opted to join the reserves first. They said, look, you can either go in as a quartermaster, a driver, or something else. I think it was electrician. I was like, there's no way I'm doing it as an electrician. So look, I'll be infantry in reserves until a spot comes up. So
infantry is just like a general foot soldier.
Yeah,
type of thing.
Yeah, so it's more the it's your security force, it's your frontline troops, I guess. We're all in the magazines, in the news. They're the guys you see with the guns basically in the trenches.
Yeah, right.
Kind of thing.
Well, what's it like? Run us through that first day when you rocked up to Kapuka. It's not like Forrest Gump and Bubba rocking up there. They're first being a blood-sucking maggot or whatever they're called.
Pretty close. There's a lot of Forrest Gumps in the army, don't get me wrong.
We're going to be a shrimp and boat captain.
Great movie.
Pineapple shrimp. Sorry, that's
have you ever been to Bubba Gumps?
No, never.
There's
in
one
the US?
There's one in. I got a Bubba Gump bottle opener from Bubba Gump Shrimp in Times Square.
Oh, in New York, yeah,
in New York, but I don't know.
One,
Have you? But I don't know if it's.
Yeah. It's probably not today. It's a good restaurant. Digress. What are we up to?
Kapuka.
Yeah, your first day.
Yeah. First day.
They shave your head.
Yeah, shave my head.
Yep.
Best haircut I ever got.
What's the point of that? Why do they do that?
Make everyone look the same.
Yeah, probably.
Is that what it is it?
Oh, yeah, no, health reasons too.
Yeah, okay.
And also to be just like, you're ours.
Yeah.
You're looking like this.
Yeah,
and
just
you're going to do what we say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That first thing of control. No, there's many things you do. Like, sounds bad. It's probably not politically correct, but you dress up in your blue pajamas and you got the shaved head and you probably know where I'm going with this. You're looking like a POW.
Yeah.
But there's method to the madness, and I respect the process now.
Yeah.
Like I see it, and it's good.
Yeah.
First day though, they whack you on a bus. I was in Sydney. No, Melbourne. I was in Melbourne, so we had to drive up to Wagga Wagga. So they put you on a bus, and they just play war movies the whole way up. So we had Apocalypse Now, Black Hawk Down, and something else. So they get you all ready.
So that'd be like the thing. I'd be like, well, fuck, if this is what it's going to be like, just pull up, I'm off. You know what I mean?
I'd rather be watching Stripes with Bill Murray.
Yeah. Great movie.
I'd be like, yes, I'm in for this.
I think it's got to be some method to it, but you're all G'd up, and anyway, you get there, and I think they have an NCO, a non-commissioned officer, like a corporal or a sergeant on the bus at the time that travels up with you just to make sure you don't leg it at a bus stop or a truck stop, whatever you call it.
Does that happen?
Apparently, yeah. Apparently, otherwise
no one on your bus, though.
No, no one on my bus. We're all too dumb to do that.
Yeah.
So they rock into the front gate, and I think the first thing they tell you, I remember the sergeant standing up, and he goes, "Radio, do what you're told, in an orderly fashion, and enjoy." Along those lines.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, great, okay.
Here we are.
Yeah, I didn't really know what was going on. I remember calling mates going, what's it like? And they're like, mate, I'm not telling you. Like, they try to tell you, but they're like, every experience is different. But anyway, the MPs jump on the bus with the military police. I think they have a couple down there, and they just start, get off the bus, get off.
So it's proper just like
straight into you.
Straight into you.
Up, yeah.
This is 2010, so they were starting to quiet it down a bit. They was basically they couldn't. They had to wind it back. I think a few things had happened. So apparently it was a few incidents that happened years before, and they've had to tone it right down. I believe today they've had to even tone it down even more. So,
wow.
So they yelling and screaming, get off the bus with your suitcases. I think I had this tiny little bag full of some civilian clothes and some shoes, toiletries, and that was it for me. Like, and they were like, "Oh yeah, sweet, whatever." But suitcases, everything. You line up on the line. They cut you into different platoons. You meet your staff, and then you marched off to your lines, your kind of your dormitory, I guess. Yeah, but it kicks off straight away, basically.
Yeah, nice.
Fear of capture.
And that first night.
Oh, first night. So someone
Pillow fight.
But yeah, 100%.
Of course.
Every night.
Of course.
We'll get back. We'll get to that later, eh? First night. Someone short-sheeted my... so when you march in, you've got an outgoing platoon. So before they leave, they make all the beds. Everything's sweet. Everything's spotty dog. So you're good to go for the next incoming platoon. Someone had short-sheeted my bed. So I'd got in and I thought, geez,
yeah, what's going on
I don't
here?
know what's going on. So I'd punched through my sheets. And so like I punched a hole through my sheets with my leg. And so I knew that morning I was just going to get fed for it. And it was like, so I don't think I slept that night. And then 6 a.m, they scream out the hallway number and everyone's out there and you're like buggered and all right, rightio. This is after the head shave and all the pajama issue and all that sort of stuff the night before. And it's pretty funny because guys are 17. I was 25. Yeah, I was 25, so I was probably classed as an older dude back then. So you got these 17, 18-year-olds just like quietly wishing they were somewhere else other than here. Like just, yeah.
Well, that's 17, yeah.
Children.
Oh, yeah, you're
children.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was 17 years old. I was surfing every day. Yeah. Far from my mind, any sort of dips would have been, I don't know.
Lasting on your mind.
So
you've got, so you're in there, starting to do your training. How long were you training for before you were deployed?
Oh, so after you do your Kapuki, you go do your ETs. I did mine at a reserve base in Sydney. And then 10 months, I think about a year after that, within the year, I got my posting to full-time battalion. So I went back to IETs, the school, which is School of Infantry in Singleton, and did 14 weeks there. And then
that's all, 14 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's to get you up to speed, to a minimum standard, I should say.
Yeah.
That's all they allow. And then it's up to your battalion to fill in your shortfalls. So, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Off to Brizzy, got my posting. Yeah.
So you were posted up here at Enoggera?
Yeah, Enoggera, yeah. Couldn't believe it. Everyone was going to Townsville, Darwin. Yeah, Townsville and Darwin, I think, were the big ones for us. So
yeah. Lucky, closer to home.
Oh, so lucky. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And what is that up at Enoggera? What are they called?
Oh, the infantry battalions.
Yeah.
8-9 RER and 6 RER.
Okay.
So they're the two we have. I was at 8-9. Great battalion, good battalion. So I couldn't have asked for anything better. It was really good posting.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
And then you got deployed from here overseas.
Yeah. A couple of years later. So so we deployed. Now deployments were drying up. 2012, 8-9 had already gone and done their trip, and they were coming home as I was marching in. So I'd well and truly missed the boat. Well, that was in my mind. I'd well and truly missed the boat.
Was that a negative thing for you? Was that something you were disappointed in?
Yeah, but I'd also, I knew to stay in my lane too. Like you can't, like you're a young bloke, well not a young bloke, but you've marched in, you've got no experience. Yeah, you want to go on the trip, but you've also got these really good mentors, these really competent dudes. You don't want to be the guy running around going, oh, should have been on a trip, blah, blah, blah. So you just have to refocus, get back into training. Just, you're there to train. You're there to be a capability. So, business as normal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never thought trips were going to come back. I thought, we were drawing down our commitment, I should say. The US was drawing down theirs too. So it wasn't going to be long till we changed the operation in Afghan, and which meant fewer numbers and smaller commitments.
Yeah, right.
When you say
low risk.
When you say trips coming around, so how does that work? They sort of rotate around different battalions.
Yeah, so there's like 7 battalions
around
Australia. Yeah, and
is that all?
Yeah, there's not many. We're only a small army. You look at the US and they've got divisions, brigades, huge armies.
How many people would be in a?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you.
Oh, here in Australia though, like.
Wouldn't even know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, wouldn't even know.
7, that just seems.
Yeah, well, it's like a big school.
Okay.
So if you look at your big schools, like what would be a big school here?
Yeah,
well,
Churchy
big
BBC
private
and
schools
stuff
and
like
all
that.
this
Yeah,
stuff.
Nudgy.
Yeah, big private
2,500 kids or something.
Yeah. Oh, probably not as big as that, but they're just like big schools kind of thing. Like, so you got 1, 2 RAR, 3 RAR, 4 was gone by the time I got there. 5, 7, 6 RAR, sorry, and 8, 9. So yeah, just these big schools getting around.
Yeah.
So
one in, one out sort of thing.
Yeah, so they've got to rotate around everyone. They've got to share the love a bit. And when you do go on operations, you come back and you do have that, I guess, that reset period. You draw down. You try and regain the purse that you might have exited out of the army after the trip and that sort of thing. So you are trying to retrain the battalion, get everyone reset, ready to go again. So it's got to go around everyone before it gets back to you. So you got a bit of time.
Yeah.
So sometimes that can be years.
Yep. Yep.
So,
So when you were deployed, it was 2015?
yeah,
Deployed.
2015. So rewind a little bit back there. I think 2014, we all saw ISIS on the news.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. That was
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the Lint Cafe had not put them on the map, but I think it twigged a little bit of insecurity within Australia, as it should.
Well, it was our first, as a country, I think it was our first
terrorist
specific,
attack,
highly
link,
publicised.
Yeah, highly publicised link with, someone waving that flag.
Yeah, and it's not no one can really confirm that he was directly linked with ISIS, but it's an ideology.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, guys waving a flag. Like, how many times do we go out to the Broncos, Rabbitohs, or whatever? Like, we wave the flags around. We love our team. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, he's probably
extreme
case.
He's rooting for someone. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it put him on the map, and we actually, obviously it's open source media. It's common knowledge that we had people going over to Syria and Iraq and joining these organisations. So Australia's hand wasn't pushed, like we weren't pushed to do it, but I think we felt some responsibility. The government felt some responsibility to be responsible for the people over there.
Yeah.
We don't, as bad as it sounds, it's probably better it's happening over here, not here, so let's just make that happen kind of thing. Like, let's keep it over there. So I think there was an event, I think it was at the end of 2014, that I was aware of, that our battalion was aware of. I think it's about 40,000 Christians. I forget. They're minority. English.
Yeah.
Good job, Jim.
Yeah.
Minority group in Iraq. About 40,000. It's very small numbers for the population there, but they're all Christian. And basically, they were pushed on to Mount Sinjar, basically by ISIS to starve. And, it was all over the news.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yep.
Pretty crook. So, so Australia sent the Air Force over to deal. Well, that's when it got put on the map. That obviously there a little bit before, but that was put on the map big time.
That's right. They started airstrikes, didn't they?
Yeah. So we put 2 and 2 together. So there was, the whispers started, and basically, you do that. There's going to have to be some sort of ground commitment by ground troops. So we knew that the special kids will be going over soon, and we'll probably follow. So
special kids.
Special forces.
Yeah,
Sorry,
right.
boys. Anyone out there?
So run us through that. You got the call. You're going over, something you've always wanted to do since you were a young kid. Like be involved. How was that?
Oh, it's surreal. basically we were on exercise, and we knew this stuff was kicking off, but we're at I remember being at Canungra, beautiful bit of jungle out at the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
I say that with
it's a beautiful spot down there, and I know it from singing. I was only 19 when I was at school.
Yeah,
Canungra.
yeah, great spot.
Where is that place?
Oh, so that's so there's a training area down there, and we were training for something. I think it was just a company shakeout, which just to make sure everyone's on the same page with skills and that sort of thing. I think we'll break contact. We're doing a break contact off a feature. And basically, once we got off the feature, the exercise would end, and we'd reset and do it again, whatever. And I remember the boss coming down. He was my platoon boss, a real good guy. He's like, "Oh, are you CFA qualified, man?" And CFA is a combat first aider, like a bastardised patrol medic. So basically, we developed a medical package to be organic of a patrol. So we're not relying on outside sources to help. So we're working off a very, very quick and crash course here, but you're working off like a golden hour kind of time frame where if you can get a soldier help within the hour, life-saving interventions, he's good to go. You can get him on a chopper, you can get him over to a Roll 2, 3 hospital where he can get further help and ultimately save his life, which we didn't really have in wars gone by. But yeah, so he's like, "Oh, digress, we'll come back. Are you CFA qual?" I was like, no, I'm not. At the time, I think I was just a marksman in a section. I was very new to the battalion, so I wasn't even in line for courses, like wait your turn kind of thing. But he's like, "Yeah, well, radio, so there's a car coming down, just de-bomb your ammo, go down the hill, there's a car going to be waiting for you there to pick you and another guy up. You guys will go to Cairns and do your training to become CFAs." So that in my mind was a bit strange because guys, when you're so new to a battalion, you're a lid. You're like an apprentice.
Yeah,
it's like no rights,
bottom of the
bottom of the barrel. Yeah, do what you're told.
Yeah.
And I had mates who'd been in there forever and hadn't had it, and I was like, that's a bit strange. So I was well and truly going to wait my turn until my 4 years was up and I can get these courses, but land on my lap. So I was like, yeah, sweet, okay. But in the back of my mind, I was like, no one does that. No one just gives a lid a course. And anyway, so I went down and I met this guy and he's like, hang on, he's only been in the battalion for a year too. Like, what's going on here? And then met up with a couple, got taken back to Brisbane and sent off on an aeroplane to Cairns. Started our course up there, and it was the same deal. Like guys I knew had only just marched in the battalions, really young guys too, and we're like, what are we doing here? So it's crazy. We're like, something's going on. It's like something has to be going on for us to be doing this. But as diggers do, we overthink everything and war game everything in our head, and probably blow it out of proportion. But yeah, so we knew something was on the horizon, and then returned after the course, and then went straight back out on exercise up to Shoalwater, and then basically got brought in and told, look, we're looking at a trip. We can't really tell you where, but we're going to go to Parliament and talk about this and see where it's going to lead us. And I think 4 months later, we sent the first rotation into Iraq.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Exciting times, yeah.
And they fly up. They'd have to stop halfway between here and there because you couldn't fly direct, could you? What's the flight? How do you get
on
there?
a ship or like?
Well,
sit in there.
Diggers gone by would have been looking at us going, that's soft, boys.
Yeah.
But no, you fly out to Dubai, out to an airbase out there and kit up, and obviously, you're training, you're doing pre-deployments beforehand, and you're training up to do all this stuff. So they're not just flying you straight into a country just to go blind kind of thing, but into Dubai for a bit of acclimatisation.
What did you fly on?
It's just a charter flight.
Just a charter flight,
right? Yeah, so you just jump in a plane that's hired by defence and every other, like mining companies kind of thing. So.
Yeah. I was thinking like a big C-170.
Nah, not yet. Nah. Well, sometimes I do, but that doesn't come until you go into country. So, yeah.
So I suppose the on the way over there, everyone's pretty optimistic and everyone's pretty excited and G'd up. And
What's what they
Hoorah.
get? That's what they get in. Yeah, hoorah! Yeah. That's it. That's what you get in there for, to do a bit of time, isn't it?
So everyone would be pretty pumped up. Run us through the first week or so over there. What was that like? What was that? How was it? A shock? Was it what you expected?
Yeah. Oh, look, like it was a hard one. Like the first rotation in before we came in to relieve them, definitely had a harder time than we did. The mission was a very new mission, so it was more a mentoring and training mission. So obviously they were just adjusting expectations and all that sort of stuff. So we had a good idea what we were going into, which is great, which is, again, expectation, what do they call that? Managing
expectations, yeah.
So, it wasn't going to be a war-fighting trip. We kind of thought it may have been before, basically, they came in the battalion one day before we deployed and would, calm down, this is not what you think it's going to be, which is good because our expectations were that, it could get a bit
hairy.
There,
you're just picturing war, I suppose.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
If you're going somewhere, you'd think, yep.
Yeah, basically. But again, that was before we knew what we were going over to do. So, the guys went over in the first rotation. Trained the first guys to go up into, I want to say, it wasn't Ramadi. It would be Mosul. Fallujah. So it'd be Fallujah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so the Americans would have been there, 8 years prior? 2007 they left.
Are you working directly with them, the Yanks there?
Yep.
Or is it you are?
Yeah, and at one stage we were actually the biggest army on that base, which is quite cool for about 2 seconds. And then the Americans, they do.
Yeah,
okay.
But
so you were training police and military personnel.
Police and military personnel,
from
Iraq. Yeah, so the basically, I wasn't personally. We had training teams to do that. So rewind back. Let's go rewind back into Afghan. We'd had a lot of insider attacks and that sort of thing. So we all know that Podian and some of the other boys who passed away over there, and it wasn't too good for us. Didn't look good for Australia either. Not funnily enough, but the Americans have been dealing with insider attacks for a long time, which is the force you are training turn on you, basically.
Shit.
So they just go rogue, you just get some rogue operators that...
Yeah.
They turn on you, what do they just there at a rifle range, they just turn around and start gunning into you? Or
I think with Pody it happened on a parade ground, I believe, with a couple of boys, and just wherever.
Yeah, it's insane.
Opportunistic, basically, so...
I guess that must be pretty difficult when that's such a big thing that seems to be going on, especially for families back home when they're understanding that their loved ones
these blokes,
are out there, helping, training, and all that sort of stuff, and then it's like they're turning around and killing them. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? What's the
And to the average Aussie soldier who gives everyone a fair go, and is really good of establishing relationships with foreign armies and foreign people, and just being generally nice to people. Yeah, it is a bit of a shock. You're like, shit, what
are we doing here?
Yeah, what are we? But obviously,
it's just one.
It is it's the bad egg.
There's always going to be a bad egg, and it's always it's just, I think because of the nature of the beasts, everything is amplified
exactly
a lot more, right? So,
and these are that's their old, that. Afghan's an old country, but they're not dumb either. They know fully that they don't have to fight in uniforms. This is not World War II. They're not defined by what they're wearing or their tactics. Take tactics out of that because they kind of are. But it's hard to distinguish between foe and friend, and they know that. They know that quite well, and they know our rules of engagement quite well too. We're not just going to engage someone that looks like he's bad. He has to fit the requirement.
Yeah.
Or the target package. And, so it is hard. You will get infiltrators, and they learnt those lessons in Afghan, and hats off to them. Learning those lessons set us up in Iraq. Different cultures, different country. However, the risk is still there, and we were needed. So my job was force protection, basically, with dignified Chubb security guard, but it's still a need for it, and we're still there to provide protection to the trainers.
Yeah,
so
wow.
Do you, when you're doing that, based on what we were just talking about with, people going rogue, are you on guard all the time? I guess when you're at work, you're on anyway, obviously, but is it something that you fearful of and always kind of, looking out the corner of your eye because something like that could happen at any time?
Look, I don't know how the first guys in the first rotation felt in their first couple of months there. I knew it probably would have changed for them too, but no, it was more, I think, being seen as a deterrent. So you're a deterrent. They know that you're there ready for it if it happens. So why would they do it? Like, it's high risk for them. So, and different cultures again. Like I found the Iraqis are very, they don't hold a grudge. They're very easygoing, or most of them are very easygoing. But again, if they see someone with a gun, or the big thing was the pistols, they know that it's not someone we'd want to take on. And we weren't there to intimidate them or anything like that. It was just for our own protection. And at the end of the day, like, I'd make conversations with them. Quite happy to walk up and share food with them. That was a big thing. Like, shake hands, slap hands, like doing what Aussies do and creating great relationships with people.
Yeah,
because that's half the survival mechanism. Like,
yeah,
if you create a relationship with someone, get to know them, less likely they're going to hurt you.
It's going to be a bit more chilled out, coming from a place of understanding as well, I guess.
Yeah.
So once you sort of make that personal relationship, then there's
absolutely
a lot easier to
common
get
ground.
along. And
yeah, that might be the guy that feeds you information that you might need to know too. He might go, hey, the Aussies are here, they've got good intentions. Something's going down that's not great.
When you say sharing food with each other, were you eating out of ration packs, or was it not that?
No, it wasn't that bad. We had a mess.
Wasn't that extreme? Had a mess, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
cool. Bully beef.
Bully beef. What else do they have?
I've seen awesome desserts and sweets and heaps of sugary stuff.
I don't think anyone goes to the army for the tucker. No, surely not.
It's getting better.
So you're in Iraq for 8 months.
Yeah, shy of 8 months. Yeah. So it was
that a fast 8 months or a slow 8 months?
It was a slow 8 months.
Was it?
Because it wasn't. Yeah, we had our times of really busy periods, but it wasn't kinetic like you would be in Afghan in the early years. Like it was very much you're waiting around for something to happen.
Yeah, okay.
Like you're taking turns at QRF, Quick Reaction Force, I should say. You're taking turns of doing different things on the ground to other guys. So you just had to go to your gym, do your gym workout every 2 days, 2 times a day kind of thing. You had to have your routine to get you through it.
Yeah, right.
I didn't find it boring. I just found it was long. But in saying that, the Americans do a year, so some do 18 months when we were there. So.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I'm very happy with our 8 months.
What was the culture and stuff like amongst all the troops? What is it? Is it really quite a happy-go-lucky kind of thing, or is it all everyone's like really serious, or like what's the overall camaraderie, the whole?
Like Aussies, it's not serious, but it's jovial. It's Aussie larrikin.
Yeah.
It's standard Aussie stuff in the Aussie camp. The Iraqis are a little bit more serious, but the thing with the Iraqis, they have their emotions on their sleeve. Like what an Iraqi might be, I guess, projecting towards you in emotion is what you get. There's no underlying.
Don't have to guess what they're thinking.
Yeah. It's black and white. But I found them fine. Like I had great conversations. It was really jovial to us. I guess we weren't really on their radar during the early years of Iraq. America was, so there would have been a bit of animosity.
Animosity,
Yep.
nailed it.
Boys.
Not Vanessa Amorosi.
No.
Clown.
I'll use that. I'll take that one. There's more probably towards the American troops. So we, I'm not going to get into politics, but they're always going to feel something towards them. They're going to probably be a little bit.
Pass a bit of judgment.
Yeah. There's going to be a bit of mistrust.
Well, I guess if you put the shoe on the other foot, like imagine walking down on the street here.
Exactly right.
And having a foreign country.
Just walking down the street telling you where to go
military,
and what to do.
Just standing there with guns and wondering,
exactly right.
We're just trying to do a podcast here.
Yeah. Calm down, fella.
You know what I mean? So
wait.
Yeah.
That's episode 10.
So as a whole, how was that experience at 8 months? Was it something that you thought it was going to happen? Like, was it what you expected, or was it completely different, or did it live up to everything you were ever hoping for?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it definitely didn't. Like, my expectation management wasn't too good. Like I thought, it's going to be really busy. It's going to be great. Like heaps to do. You know, we're going to be out on the ground every day doing protection. It's going to be great. But there were really shit times where you're just like, sorry, Mum, if you're listening to this. There's times where you're like, what are we doing here? Like, I haven't done anything for a week, and you know,
just kicking your feet around a bit.
Yeah, but again, like that's when you relied on your mates. Like I really relied heavily on a guy over there. I became great mates with. He was actually one of my mentors, kind of early on in the piece. Not mentor, but he trained me before, I guess. But then became real good mates with him. And I remember just whinging to him, and don't want to sound like a whinger, but it is a digger's right to whinge. So.
Yeah.
So we never whinge up. We whinge.
Yeah, same level.
Yeah, whatever you call it.
Yeah, eye to eye.
Eye to eye. Yeah, and I remember just going, mate. And he's like, yeah, sweet. Yeah, no one cares, mate. Like,
yeah.
Back in the gym you go, and he'd flog me for an hour in the gym, and I'd be right as rain after that. I think it was more the times where you just had nothing to do with. That's when things start falling apart, I think, for guys.
Yeah. But jumping in the gym and getting the endorphins cranking was a good way to...
Definitely, yeah. It saves your life. Like it's the thing you look forward to every day. Like I remember he'd get me up at 4, smash out a quick workout, and then go to work, get home at 12, lunch, gym, movie, and then stretch session. So your routine was laid out in front of you, so it was good to go.
Bit of structure.
Yeah. Definitely personal experiences might vary for we veterans out there. I'm really sorry. But like obviously the early guys in Afghan, you know, they would have been hitting the gym maybe once a week because they were so busy. So it's all, I guess,
it's all relative to what your purpose is at that time.
Exactly
on your mission, right?
Yeah. Back to food, actually. That was a good one. Way digressing here, boys. Food. So Iraqi food, mint. Love it.
Really?
Love it. Great food. Yeah, Americans hated it. Didn't touch it. And I was a little bit apprehensive going into it. It just came to my mind just then. But I built a great relationship with a guy over there just through food. I think he had a lentil curry, a bit of dodgy fish from the Tigris River. Tigris. And flatbread. And it was by far the best thing. It was fresh.
Yeah, nice.
Better than the mess food. Well, the mess food was all American food. It was pretty good, but it was just something different. All right, back on track.
Unreal. Yeah.
That makes me hungry thinking about that, to be honest right now.
So you've done your 8 months. You've come home. So what happened then? What was that after post deployment? Run us through that.
Yeah. So post deployment, usually a few things happen. Well, in the early days, it used to happen that they'd bring everyone home. Everyone get a reset. Everyone goes on holiday for a month, and then you're brought back to battalion.
Is a reset just time away?
Time away, time in battalion, just to reset your focus, reset what you want to do in your career.
Do you have a debrief at the end? Is it just
a debrief? Yeah, big debrief in the end.
So was that same sort of way out that you came in? So you go through Dubai or something like that?
Yeah, so back out through Dubai, and
do you stop along the way to
Well, we
debrief before getting back to Australia?
I didn't. We did a quick debrief from a in-country psych. I think it was a month before we left. That was just tick the boxes. Yep, sweet. You haven't done anything dodgy. Blah blah blah. Like all the
you're tracking along all right.
Tracking. Yep. With our trip, most guys were. An incident did happen that they wanted to check up on and make sure that was all sweet with the boys, and so there was a little bit with that, but that was all right. About a month out, and then basically I think our crew, we were pretty late to leave. I know we ended up on a herc by ourselves into Dubai and had a day in Dubai, so we went to the water park, and that was kind of our debrief, just to,
lay it all out.
Yeah. Tan ops.
Why does a water park in Dubai seem so weird to me?
Just full of Russian men. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, right.
Overrated.
Just imagine, Righto.
So where'd you go? Where'd you go for your reset?
I came home. I think I had 2 weeks off. Went down to Tassie, saw the family. I think Mum, obviously your parents think the worst every time you go to a foreign country anyway. So Mum wanted to make sure all good. Obviously all good. Yeah, so I just did a bit of time in Tassie, a bit of time with the missus, and back to work 2 weeks later.
Was there a come down?
Massive. I didn't think there would be.
Yeah.
I think because it was a pretty unremarkable trip, I thought, no. But I think the big thing I was starting to struggle with was you're no longer the top of the pile anymore. You know, the focus isn't on you anymore. You're not
in the light.
Yeah, you're not in the light. You're not going to have people going out of the way to get you the good gear to operate with or to do your job. You are now back into a reset battalion, stay in your lane. No one gives a shit about you. Like, just keep on doing what you're doing.
And then it's that backport you were talking about earlier, that cycle that it takes that trips around Australia until you may get the next opportunity to
basically
to go on
so you're waiting your turn, which for a lot of people, including myself, that was just too long. So a lot of people, you get the post deployment blues, which is a lot of people just the battalion just starts hemorrhaging guys. Like, guys realise, I just don't want to do this. Tick that box, tick that deployment box.
Yeah, what's next?
And so everyone's got their eye on the climate around the world of what's happening in with regards to conflict and war and all that sort of stuff, and what is going on, and people are looking at it thinking there's not much going on right now. Yeah, lots of peacekeeping missions, I would imagine.
Yeah, look, a little bit. Yeah. Common source, open source media. Again, we're in doing good things in the Philippines. We're in Fiji, we're in Vanuatu. We're doing things, but they're only small contingencies. There's small groups doing them,
and people want a bit more.
Yeah,
I don't know, understanding of what exactly the length of time and stuff they'll be getting up to, but I suppose that's probably not that exciting.
No, it's not. Why would you play first grade football to sit on the bench? Like, you got some of the best trained. We're one of the best trained armies in the world. You got great training, great budget for what we have for the size of our army. Like, we're doing really good things, but you just have this anticlimax at the end that
bit deflated.
Yeah, there's no more trips. We're not going to be war fighting, kicking doors in. It is a bit of a not crushing, but you have to adjust your life.
It's just the reality of it sinks in, and I suppose anyone who's in the military, the reason why they're in the military is for the action. Yeah, like that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are kind of hanging out for it.
So you start hemorrhaging guys.
Yeah, people just leave, and like I remember in 2013 when boys got back from Afghan, there was just a mass exodus. Guys I was like looking up to too, guys who I was getting good training on, were suddenly disappearing, just going.
Done.
Yeah, done, dusted, burnt out. A lot of burnout, and still going on today. A lot of burnout, and that pissed me off a little bit because these are guys who have operational experience, combat experience at that, which is going to be hard to come by. These guys are great guys who just maybe weren't appreciated or utilised.
So it's the system that's letting them down, not the other way?
I think it might be a bit of both. I'm not sure. Like, it's hard to say on this because I'm not sure who's watching, but
probably not too many people.
Mum.
Thanks, Mum.
Sue.
G'day, Sue.
Watching. How are you?
The old man.
Kenny Ross.
Yeah, Dad will be watching.
Kenny Ross will be listening somewhere. Yeah.
But so guys still have enough. They want to go on, get on with their lives. They're sick of moving their kids around to 3 separate schools every 3 years kind of thing.
Yeah, hard on families.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing is that, like, you can't just pluck a war out of, thin air and...
Absolutely right.
So here you go and fight. Yeah. Go and fight this.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like, you've got to manage your expectation, what you want to get out of the army and what the army wants out of you and what there is on offer. And yeah, so I'd just see him leave. And to me, that was pretty off-putting. Like, I was like, I hope they're looking after these guys, or I hope these guys are going to something better.
We're hoping that the military was looking after them. Yeah. So you weren't looking at these guys who you looked up to see them leaving and think,
look down on them.
What the hell?
Never look down on them at all, because it was more like someone were going out and doing these awesome things.
Yeah.
I was like, that is a good, that's a good example of what you can do outside of this organisation, which is fantastic. However, I now know the journey they would have gone through during that time. It's like social media. What you see at face value is what's going on under the surface. You know, so you know, like catching up with these guys later on, like years down the track, and really understanding what they're going through. And again, being so happy and blessed that I listened to the old man when I was 17, 18 and set myself up for something at least.
Yeah.
Because some of these guys just didn't set themselves up well enough, or change course, you know, something changed in their lives and they had to, you know,
Pivot.
Change gears, pivot, do something else.
The other thing I think would be massive is going from so much structure to then being able to operate at your own sort of free will.
Huge.
And I guess that would create a lot of problems, or just find a lot of guys become misguided, I suppose, right? Or,
Massively.
Yeah.
Massively.
Bring them a bit undone.
It is, yeah. And, you know, a lot of it, like your first couple of weeks, it's awesome. You're out, you sleep, you can sleep in, you don't have to shave. Like, suddenly, it's like an abusive relationship. You're out.
Yeah, yeah.
Bad,
Free and clear.
bad example.
Free and clear.
Sorry. But then suddenly you want to go back. And you're like, fuck yeah, like, why do I want to go back? Like, and then you start realising it's loss of the tribe, it's loss of your mates. You know, you're no longer in this family structure, these boys, these girls supporting you.
But they can't relate. I suppose your spouse can't really relate to what you've been through or what it's like. So
and that's probably one of the biggest issues
problems.
for families, right?
And a lot of them can and can't. But one of the big thing that is the same across the board is these women, these husbands or kids or wives are going through the same transition as you are, and we all miss that. We all think it's all about us, and then suddenly it dawns on us that you've just put your wife through or your children through whatever they've had to go through.
Yeah.
And they've literally left the organisation with you and won't have the same, you know. So it is a change.
And there's also, there's no blueprint for how it should go for any one person. So there's no like.
No, like it's not. Like everyone's like, go to the cops, man. I'm like, I don't want to be a copper. They're like, oh, go to the fireys. Oh, that's good, but they're not recruiting this year. Oh, what do you want to do? I'll do private security. Oh, well, just about everyone from SF's getting out and getting those jobs. So what do? Oh, down to Centrelink I go.
So when was that? When you decided to start getting out? Or when are we talking?
So I think 2017. Well and truly, I was like, all right, I'm starting to burn out here. Rewind again. Sorry about that. Bit disjointed there.
No, you're right.
Post trip blues, we're all thrown into courses really quickly after we got back from our holidays.
Just keep you busy, keep you going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that the military putting into them, or you're doing those?
The battalion. So
they're telling you this is what you got to go do. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So and look, like I had an RSM there. His kind of view on it was idle diggers, lazy diggers, trouble. Like they'll get themselves in trouble, and I totally believe him. Like I agree with that, but I don't agree with the tempo. Obviously, seeing a lot of myself and my mates starting to burn out and that sort of thing. So
when you're saying burnout, you're talking sort of emotionally, psychologically, starting to
emotionally, physically,
everything.
You've just dealt with the inside company politics of a trip and had to deal with that crap that went on there, and now you're dealing with it back at your battalion and things you're not agreeing with, and it starts compounding, and they're like, right, boys, stay keen. You're going bush for 4 weeks, and you get back and you're like, hey mate, yeah, I know you went out bush, but we need you qualified. We've got to send you on a course. All right, off on a course you go. You get back, and then suddenly you might be a section commander, corporal. You've done all these things. Like, sweet man, right, there's a posting coming up from Singo. We need you to uplift, and you've got to head to Singo, Kapooka, wherever. Tell your family now you're going. And so obviously, the tempo mixed with other things, guys were just burning both ends. So it was, and I was starting to personally, I know I was trying to keep it quiet, but I was starting to just get a little bit off it.
Yeah.
And I know Ange, my wife, she could see it, but she was kind of like, he might be handling it. He's not bringing it home. He's not talking to me.
Cracks are starting to appear.
Yeah.
So
like what were some of those things?
I think once you're working with your chain of command so closely in proximity of them overseas, you lose not respect, but you lose the fear of, the what do you call that? The filter.
Yeah.
The filter isn't there as it probably well should be, and start the back chatting starts, and questioning what they're doing to you and questioning their decisions on things, and
yeah, right.
And I was saying, I started to do that. Mate started to do that. We all started to do that. So
Just having a gutful, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
You boys yourselves would have been.
Yeah. Had
Look
those
back at
days.
your apprentice.
Yeah.
In your apprenticeship, you're like, line him up with the ute.
Plenty of those days.
And I think that happened with Ed on his first day. What am I doing here?
What did Carl Barron reckon? First day was shithouse. Did it 8 years, still shithouse at the end. So yeah.
Oh,
But so what was the cracks are starting to appear? What was the turning point?
I think my wedding at the end of the year, end of 2016. I was just come off a course. It was a great course too. That's the problem. Digress again, boys. Sorry about this.
I want to hear all of it.
So these courses are good courses too. Like they're your support courses. That snipers, mortars, recon, assault pioneers, SIGs. Sorry if I've missed anything.
Fun stuff? Are we talking? Fun stuff.
Like really good stuff. Everyone aspires to do this. Guys are coming out of support company and they're going, right, love this stuff. Let's train for selection. I'm going to selection. I'm going to go to SF. Like it sets guys up. Guys want these courses. It's awesome. But, you don't want to miss out on these things either. So you're pushing yourselves towards it. You're like, oh, right, get through this 4 weeks of bush. It's 2 weeks off. Back at barracks doing that. And then I'm straight into that course. But you are burning yourself
Candle
down.
at both ends.
Yeah, and I see it all the time, like guys doing it. And real keen guys too doing it, and just burning. And get to the end of the year and they're just like hanging out for that last kind of 6 weeks before Christmas, and then boom, promotion courses. Like you thought you were safe, but no, straight on a promotion course, and that's 6 weeks away again, and just getting hammered. And so I'd finished a course end of the year, 2016, and I was just pretty tired and pretty irritable and just not really feeling it, and really trying to be there, trying to be what do you call that when your wife's probably always tell you, be here, whatever they call it.
Present.
Present.
You're all over it.
Mindfulness.
Finishing each other's sentences.
Oh.
I love this. Oh,
Chemistry.
Great.
Yeah.
Podcast for the working class.
So 2016, that's not that long ago. Like obviously, because I was thinking what we would have been doing in 2016, and I think you would have still serving.
Yeah, I was still in. So I was so I just finished a course. I pretty tired. A couple of the boys were going to be my groomsmen. One of them was in the same course. He was pretty tired. And others attending. So, yeah, yep. So
where'd you get married?
Mullaney.
Oh, right. Oh, beautiful.
God's country.
Yeah, it's nice.
Beautiful spot.
Yeah.
See, oh, mate, like I'd move there. I'd retire there.
It's nice, beautiful. Isn't it? I love it.
Which made the day great too.
Yeah.
Like if it was in town, I would have just been.
Yeah.
But it was just like a calming area up there, like a real.
It's super chilled out, isn't it? It's just green. It's just nice.
Yeah.
So that was end of 2016, was it?
2016, back on track. So 2016. Yeah. So night before, I didn't have a Bucks party. I didn't really have the time for a Bucks party. So best mate had flown up from Tassie. He was my best man. A couple other boys from work. My brother, had a great time the night before. Probably not the best thing to do for a wedding, but
understandable.
Yeah. And so the next day I was pretty tired still, and the staff at the centre was holding us across, so everyone can set up and do their thing, and they give you a beer or whatever you need to calm your nerves. And I was I just need to step away, just have a quiet moment, just a reset kind of thing. Like, not that I had cold feet or anything like that. I just wanted to be, in the moment for my wife, my new wife, and I just wanted her to have the best day she could possibly have. I wanted to be there, smiling. Like, even if I had to put on the act, I'd put on the act for her. Like, it just didn't matter. And then a real close mate of mine who was attending just saw me through the window, and he's like, "What's going on here? Like, it's a bit weird." Came in, and I just went to shit. Like, broke down in front of him. He's just this big bear of a bloke, like bundled me up like a small child. And he's like, it's all right, mate. Like, you need help, but today is going to be the best day of your life. You might not remember much, but I'll film everything. I'll fill you in after it. Whatever you got to do, mate. Just get through today and sort your shit out. Like, gripped me up basically, which I needed, because at that point you don't need soft words. You don't need everything's going to be okay, because the way we are, soldiers generally don't perform with positive reinforcement all the time. Sometimes they need that hard truth, that negative reinforcement. You need to sort it out, because this is a very important moment.
Yeah.
So went in. Great day, awesome day.
So do you reckon that moment was just a real significant point and like a release of a lot of things that you probably didn't know?
Yeah, a lot of built up stuff.
A lot of built up stuff, and that was just the pressure.
Yeah, it's just the pressure cooker, because it is an emotional day. Like
I got married in March.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it is an emotional day, and it's and the expectation there, you want to really perform for your family. You're pouring your heart out in your vows.
Yeah,
and all this stuff, and it's a hard day. Digressing again, boys. The guy who married us, he was our padre overseas. So he's a big Islander boy, boxer, really good guy. And I'd actually asked him, I was like, do you want to, I don't know anyone who can do this. Can you do it? And he's like, yeah, man, like, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's a real good guy. So I think in his mind he knew something had gone on, but my mate might have worded him up or something, because as soon as I got up there, he's like big bash on the back of the back, like, yeah, boy, we're doing this together kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, sweet, we are. Like, but yeah, it was just that release and that, something's not right here. But, it was kind of that maybe defining moment that you knew there was a problem.
So then that beginning of that next week, you're off to the psych?
No, so we went on our honeymoon.
Yep.
And we were due back to work straight away after the honeymoon. So honeymoon was great.
Yeah.
That was all good. I, again, put everything to the back of my mind and just got the moment for my wife and just, really had a great time. But as soon as I got back to work, it was like that dark cloud. I was just like, no, something's got to give here. This is not sustainable. And very briefly talked to my mate, and he's like, we're overdue for our post. It's called POPs, your post, basically psych evaluation, your medical and physical, I think. But I'd been avoiding purposely that mental one, the psych, basically, because I didn't want to bar her.
What do you think behind? What was the reason behind that?
I don't know. There's a lot of things. I actually wrote a few notes down about it. There's a common misconception that it will affect your job. Yeah. So injuries, mental, physical, a lot of us have that fear it will affect our jobs. So people will pull us out of something we really love, because we do love the job. It's a great job.
You wouldn't be doing it if you didn't.
Exactly. You get paid for doing stuff that's just outrageous.
Yeah.
And you don't want to lose that. You want to go, and if you have to leave, you want to do it on your own terms. Yeah. So for me, it was like, I don't want to go to the site, because they're the first people that are going to say, no, you cannot handle a weapon. You cannot go on this. You cannot do this. So it was that real fear of doing it. And then I remember really briefly just talking to my mate, I was like, I don't know if I can do this, man. I just got to, and we can all bung on we can all
bung a smile on.
Yeah, and we can all say the right things to get that tick in the box. We all can do it. And, so I was like, yeah, sweet. I'm just going to sign it off, because I had a course in my mind I wanted to do. And so I was like, all right. Went in there, and she's like, right. She put the piece of, and she's just, instead of giving me the paper where you tick and flick and then going, cheers, mate, have a good day, she's just started reading it to me. And I was like, just give me the paper.
Spanner in the works.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to be
I
don't want to have to think about these answers. And this is where I was starting to get a bit fearful. I'm like, does she know that? What's going on? She must know something. Something's going on here. Anyway, she said something. I forget what it was. So this would have been late February. Sorry, this would have been late February. digressing again. Sorry about this, boys.
You're all right.
Before that had happened, I just found, I think the night before, I just got the news a mate had passed away. So this was 20, February. So I didn't know him well. I'd actually met him in Iraq, over in Baghdad. I had to quickly go in with a guy who got injured and sort him out, and no one had really organised anything for me to get picked up and taken to accommodation or anything like that. And it was just a quick, all right, just get him there. Yep, sweet, we'll sort it out on the way. So we dropped in, got off the Black Hawk, handed this guy over, and there was just no one on the airfield. I was like, oh, good, I'm sleeping on the bench tonight. And then this guy came out, he's like, hey, man, what's going on? And like straight away, Aussie accent, because it's an American base. You're like, hey.
Sweet.
Yeah, I was like, done, dusted, sorted. And he's like, yeah, have you eaten? I'm like, no, man. He's like, all right, do you want to have a shower? I'm like, no, it's all right, just eat. So he took me off into the mess, just ate, and we just started talking. Like, I think there was a lot of frustrations that were happening on the trip that I definitely vented to one of my mates, but hadn't really done it properly, I guess. You know, it's conversation. So got talking to him, and then it rolled into like life experiences, and then what he was doing and what he did overseas, and you know, feeding off the real positive things that he had done, like his, you know, experiences in gunfights and stuff like that, and you know, his experience in dealing with casualties, and then we got into marriage, and it was like a mini marriage counselling session, like with this guy, like, and then, you know, the next day we caught up again and took me out to a driving range on the base and hitting golf balls, and he's like, yeah, and we got talking again, and just a good guy. And I think the way he felt too was it was like a new face to talk to, almost like he'd been stuck with the same 6 dudes for 8 months too, and you know, new face. Oh yeah, oh, we have the same kind of topics to talk about. Yeah, had a great talk with him. Yeah, and 3 days I was there, and yeah, really. And he's like, man, if you need anything, like, shoot us an email. Here's my phone number when you get home. Like, you know, just stay safe. You know. And then I think he ended up hooking up with some gear that we couldn't get a hold of where we were, so that was real helpful. And just like a real professional gentleman, like real nice guy. And yeah, so back on track, I found out the night before that Pops, he'd passed away, left, you know, wife and kids, and it just floored me. I was like, oh, and I think I remember telling my mate about it real briefly. I was like, oh, mate, Cav's passed away, mate. I'm not sure if you knew him. He's like, no, I didn't know him.
How did he die?
Oh, you know, like, you know.
Took his life?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just shit circumstance. And in the back of my mind, I knew that had gone on in the ADF a little while, but I just didn't, you know, you kind of disconnect yourself from that. But then the conversations I remember having with him, it was just like why is this is not fair. So, you know, that's going through my mind, and this popped in this interview, and I just went, shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, couldn't keep it together. I was just off, like, and she's like, and I was covering it up. She's like, don't, like, just do it. Like, no one gives a shit, mate. Like, this, no one's judging you for this. This is totally normal, blah, blah, like, fair. And I didn't want to hear it. Like, I was just like.
Did you talk about that, having
no.
the news of having lost that?
Oh, yeah,
that
briefly
fella?
said I've just lost it. You know, it was hard for me to tell her because he wasn't a close mate, but he was a guy that I'd shared.
Doesn't matter, does it? Like,
no,
it's when you've got a connection with someone, however long or short, if there's a real connection there, it doesn't. Nothing else really matters, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the year I marched in battalion, the day after Anzac Day, I'd lost a mate, and I thought I'd dealt with that pretty well. But that in the back of my mind, that's brought up.
You still hadn't dealt with that either, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it just wasn't a good day, and she's like. And you know, in between the blubbering and carrying on, she's like, I'm like, I don't want to lose my job. You know, like, instead of, I don't want to lose my sanity, I don't want to lose my job.
Yeah,
and she's like, you're not going to lose your job, mate. Like, for goodness sake, what is it with you blokes? Like, so she's given me, read me the right act and just said, right, I'm not signing you off. You're not going to lose your job. You won't lose your spot. Whatever you think you're going to lose, you're not going to lose. However, you will go see someone. I'm not going to call them a psych, but you're going to see them. tomorrow. So I was like, right, yeah. So got out of there. My mate was just coming in. He's like, yeah, you're a shit house, mate. And picked me up, took me home. Next day, went to the psych, and I was just like, didn't say a word. Like, I was just like, I don't even know how to start this conversation.
Was that a psych from the military?
Yeah. Awesome girl. Like, lovely lady.
Yeah.
Counsellor / psych. They double hat a lot. So, because they give you the option to go and talk to an outside contractor, like I think at the time it was VVCS. It's now called Open Arms, I believe. They give you the option because they think guys feel that if the army can track what they're doing medical wise, they feel like that's their job will be in jeopardy. So they go, we'll give you the option to go to an outside contractor.
I think that's common across the board, whether military or not. I think a lot of people feel that, if it's provided by their employer, they might, somehow find out and lose their job ultimately.
Exactly right. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. I don't care. I'm just going to tick the boxes again until I can get,
So you were approaching talking to the professional or, a professional as something you just had to tick off, and not because you thought it would help you, or not because you thought you would be able to vent and work through whatever was going on in your head.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Because, going sideways, I was in a very, alpha male, high tempo, high paced work space. Like, everyone's just highly proficient. Everyone's tough. Guys are really good at their jobs, and don't really show much weakness. So to me, I was just like, how are these guys going to view me, if they find out? So, it was a negative approach. But over time, it got to the point where I think my wife told me you need to talk to her. And
so you were going to appointments but regularly. Not talking?
Yeah, so it took me about 4 appointments, I believe. So that's 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Of just
sitting
there, and she would just go, all right. And I'll be like, she'd be like, oh. And she'd try and
prompt you.
Yeah, prompt me and try. And I'd be like, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't.
It's not ready. No, obviously not ready to even open up. Right?
And I think a lot of this is I had really good mates who had been in the height of the Afghan war and who'd, punched through their PTSD or PTS, post-traumatic growth and that sort of thing. Like, they've won that war. They've won that battle. Why should I be feeling like this? Like, why should I be feeling like, what they've gone through is not what I've gone through. So why am I going? Like, this is not, and by any means, it wasn't PTSD. It was more that, compounding factors and that sort of thing.
A lot of little things built up.
Yeah.
But I guess that's an important thing to get across, because it doesn't matter. It's different for everyone, and there's no blueprint for how to handle any situations like this. And obviously, you've got, not you, but people go through PTSD. That's a completely different kettle of fish.
Exactly right.
But it doesn't mean it's any less important.
It doesn't mean it's any less important, because you can only deal with what it is that you're dealing with. And it's all well and good to say, well, I haven't been through what those blokes have been through, so why should I be feeling like that? But the reality is you can only deal with what you've got in front of you, and comparing yourself, I guess, to anyone else out there is super detrimental to, the process of figuring it out, right?
It is.
But you don't know that until
you don't know that.
It can be dangerous, not
Yeah, it is. And I think it's a hard thing too, because these guys had all left. Well, most of them left. So I couldn't bounce off these guys either. I probably wouldn't have, because I'd feel some sort of shame that what you've gone through is not what I've gone through, and realistically I should probably just stay in my lane and shut up and sort this out in-house as quiet as possible, and not be labelled this PTSD thing that was everyone, I guess, was getting labelled. So it took about 4 sessions, and she's like, what did you do on the outside? What did you do before I joined the army? I was like, I was an electrician. And she's like, really? And you're a grunt? I'm like, yeah. She's like, why aren't you an electrician in the army? And then it kicked off, talking about that. And she's like,
got ya.
Got ya. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I was like, after the set, I was like, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well played.
Like, well done. Talking about that, and she's like, have you ever thought of getting out? And she's like, I'm going to give you a home truth here. we may not be going back to war for a very long time. Do you think you could put up with this for the next 10 years? Do you see yourself being RSM in the army? And just started like smashing me with this, like
giving it to you in the real way. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I probably need that too. And I'm like, oh, probably not. No. And she's like, how hard is it to get requalified as an electrician? And I was like, oh, well, I've done my, what do you call it? The electricians out there will know.
Not your capstone.
Capstone. It's like your reissue of your license. So you do a small test.
Yep.
So I actually did that the year prior because I was like, oh, let's come around. I better renew that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, not much effort at all. I think I just got to do a bit of study, maybe another requal, and should be good to go. And she's like,
sounds pretty easy.
Should you be doing that? Yeah. And I'm like, damn it. And she's like, all right, don't make any decisions today. This time next week, though. And, so that just sowed the seed. So for that week, I was like, what's out there? Like, right. Got on Seek, got on the TAFE. I think I enrolled in a course. You know, for that week, I was so motivated just to find out what was out there and realising, you know, all the apartment complexes and unit complexes around Brisbane, which should have been the amount of times I've flown into Brisbane, and the cranes are everywhere, the sky cranes are everywhere.
Light bulb didn't go off.
Yeah, the light bulb didn't go off. Like the airport was starting to kick off. They were starting to bulldoze that new runway, like all these things. And then I'd told her this on the week 5, and she's like, yeah.
I know.
I know.
So I find that really interesting because I think a lot of people have an idea that seeking help or going to talk to a professional is them trying to divulge into your deepest, darkest secrets and all that sort of stuff. But in this instance, all she's done is asked you a couple of reflective questions, like what did you do before the military? And you're like, Sparky. And it's like, oh, cool. Bing, fuck, light bulb. Like, you know, it's not about, you know, hug this pillow and tell me all your nasties. It's just like a bit of reflection and bang, you sort of light bulb's gone off and you're on a bit of a different path. So that's really cool.
And it's crazy because everyone does this. Everyone has that light bulb moment where they're like, oh, I don't want to be an electrician anymore. I want to be a grunt. Bing. You boys might have been the same with this company.
Yeah, we don't want to be chibbies anymore. We want to sew shirts.
Sew shirts together.
Exactly right. Great shirts too, boys.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, like you do have that light moment, and it's kind of funny. So again, I'm one of the lucky ones. Like, had a trade behind me. A few guys do actually in my battalion. There were a few chippies, a few plumbers. We've actually talked about getting like a syndicate together and starting something. You know, Boilermakers. You know, there's a few guys out there that can set themselves up, but the vast majority don't have the skills. They join with 18, 17 straight out of school. And unfortunately, being infantry or a grunt, transferable skills are, you know,
quite limited.
You don't need me to go to the local cafe and blow a door in. Like,
yeah.
You know, like,
I can do it if you want.
I can do it,
you know.
But, you know, like, it's transferable skills. You just got this tiny little lane, and they don't tell you that.
Yeah.
And so, again, very lucky. So, it's sowed the seed.
Yeah. So how did that approach? So once that kind of happened, what were the next steps? Because like getting out, so to speak, or you're not out, you're still in the reserves.
Yeah.
Now, aren't you? So
yeah, so that's a funny story. So I wanted out. I wanted to go cold turkey, you know, that sort of thing.
Made that decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
At peace with it.
Made peace. I was like, this is probably where it's going to go. I don't think I could go anywhere else in this career. The opportunities are starting to dry up. Okay. Plan B. So I was like, right, I'll give myself 6 months just to get everything lined up and leave kind of thing. So the biggest, hardest one is coming to terms with discharging out of the army. So you're like, I've got to tell someone. So you go to your superior and they go, oh, is that right? You'll be nothing on the outside, mate. You are a grunt.
Oh, that way, Sadia.
Yeah, well, that's a very isolated, like, not all of them are like that.
Yeah.
But you will get that conversation.
And if not directly said, probably implied.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah. They don't need you on the outside, bud. Like, we need you. But also they were more kind of like, right, so you're at a bit of a crossroads. You probably need a bit of career direction. So, all right, we'll send you off and you'll go talk to old mate down at the down the road, and you'll talk about where you want to go in your career. So I was like, whatever. You got to tick the box. You got to tick that box before you get out anyway. So I went down there and they're like, oh, throw on posting. You know, do you want to go to Singleton? You know, do your promotion course. You'll go to Kapuka. Blah blah blah. I'm like, radio. Like none of yous are listening. But yeah. So coming to peace with basically, I'm getting out, and then realising, oh, geez, like I actually have to set myself up and get out. Like
it's on me now,
It's on me now because no one's going to help you. And why would they? Like, you join them. You join the army. It's not a service requirement for you to get out. Like, they're not going to go, oh, you want to be an electrician? All right, be an electrician in the army. They're not going to say, oh, old matey down the road just advertised the other day. Go work for him.
Yeah.
You know, like, so for them, they've spent money on you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much money. Like,
You're an asset.
Exactly, yeah. And no matter what you do in the army, you're an asset.
Yeah.
Like, and so they're like, right, don't fully discharge. Don't fully discharge. That's a bad idea at the moment.
It sounds like Foxtel when I tried to get rid of my Foxtel, and they're like, well, don't get rid of your whole sports package. Why don't you just pay $10 a month, and if you decide to get it on again, it's like, oh, righto.
Yeah, you got me.
Oh, they got me. I know, they got me too. Like, radio. Yeah, so you're like, all right, what options are there? And they're like, well, go back to reserves. You joined a reservist. You know the system. Go back to reserves. And then I was like, oh, okay. Does it make the process faster? And they're like, somewhat, but you'll still need the time. You'll realise you'll need that time leading up to you leaving to get yourself sorted. So like, sweet, right, transfer to reserves, do that. Going sideways again, this is a great option. I want to highlight this because a lot of guys get out cold turkey, and again, loss of the tribe, loss of mateship, loss of that stability in the organisation, that structure.
Yeah.
You know, it floors guys. Like and if you go into the reserve stream, you have that. So why wouldn't you do that kind of thing? Like, some guys don't have the option. Some guys are medically discharged and that sort of thing, and some guys don't feel they need it. But I think it was probably the best thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess a lot of people are leaving, and they're leaving behind their two massive things is their sense of purpose and their sense of belonging, right? And that's like for anyone, whether you're in the military or whether you're in a sports team, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing that drives people.
Yeah.
Without that,
Exactly, yeah.
Without that, it's like, well, what am I? What do I do next?
Like I'd talk to guys now. One's he's just transferred across the reserves, and he was in the same thing. He goes, I just needed a purpose. So he's like, well, I've also started the Veterans Footy Club, which is out North Brisbane. But he's like, I've started that just so I could have some drive, some purpose, a goal too while I'm looking for work. Also working with reserves just to top up, the wage. So great option for me too.
So when was that moment when you flicked from the full-time military to reserves and then back into a civilian job?
It would have been end of 2017.
End of 2017.
End of 2017, right at the end. So it was a funny old transition. I remember being on our last exercise and just being like, I will never have to do this again. I have the choice not to do this now. I think we're out the back of Wide Bay.
Was it a happy feeling?
It was a happy feeling. Like, it was a great exercise. Like, having a lot of fun, but it was like,
I'm done.
I'm done. I can choose not to do this again. Like, it was a great feeling. Like, I was trying to tell it to one of my mates. He was getting out and he was just looking at me like, I'm going to miss this. And I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah.
Two different things. But he was leaving on different terms than I was. So
yeah.
But yeah, like knowing full well that this could be your last exercise was a great feeling. So I got home, took all my leave, and basically that 6 months lead up, I was applying for every single job I possibly could. So I knew it was going to be hard to get back in the market. Been in the army for a long time. And so you've got tradesmen out there who are far more competitive than I can be, far more mature in their trade than I can be. And B, it was a bit of a job shortage getting around, so it was stacked against me. But I gave myself 6 months to sort it out. So ended up, I think, I applied for 82 jobs. Now, when I say 82... probably about half of those 82, I just threw resumes at.
Yeah.
Didn't really
Not too much thought, just like, here's my resume, bang, not really tailored or anything to the job.
Pretty much, And drag netting.
Yep.
Tinder.
Yep.
But it was just like, yeah, sweet. All right. Nothing back. Well, I got a few back, but they were like, oh, yeah, how long are you, oh, you're in the army here. Okay, all right. We'll give you a call if we've got anything coming up. So I'm on you straight away.
Mm.
And then I started to feel, all right, there's a bit of a stigma behind ex-army boys or ex-ADF guys trying to get jobs. Like, there's a bit of a stigma here, like, because I got asked. I think one guy was like, "So, are you all right upstairs? Like, you're all good?" I'm like, "Oh, right, yeah, I see where this is going."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm sure I am, mate." Like, obviously didn't get that job, but that's the common. That started to become a common occurrence. I'm like, "What's the deal?" Like,
yeah, wow.
I hadn't really thought of that.
Yeah, like I was like, we're not all like that. Like, and I was starting to see. I never really saw that, but
and then you were going for electrical jobs.
Yeah,
electrical jobs.
Yeah, all around Australia, anything I could get. So,
which is funny because I would have thought with a trade, with a trade background, and then going for a trade job, that military experience would be nothing but a good thing for trade jobs.
You'd think, yeah.
Right?
Well, like it does have a great traits, but we just had this underlying fear that people had that we're all nutcases.
So you found it became apparent that reintegrating back into civilian life, even just to get a job, became a difficult process because
I was military.
Because you're military, and is that a common perception or experience for other ADF personnel?
Like again, experience is going to vary across the board, from officers to enlisted to whatever role you might have been in, because I know that transferable skills for, let's just say, drivers, like trade skills in the army are quite transferable if you sort out your deficiencies and that sort of thing. But when you're infantry, you're not going to have those transferable skills. So, yeah, I was really relying on that electrical. So I thought in my head, yeah, I'm sweet, I'm good to go. But I didn't realise people were going to think I was crazy, which I wasn't. But it was just like everyone has that question in their mind, and the media is almost, taught us that Aussies are diggers are a little bit, they're a little bit high maintenance maybe, like. And, so I was starting to see this trend, and I was like, oh, righty, what do I do? And I remember this one guy, and it's from an employment company, and I just laughed at him because I remember cold calling. I'd sent my resume out, and I hate cold calling, but I was like, right, the next 40, I'm just going to call, I'll send a resume to you, I'll give you a week, I'll call you. I had it on the spreadsheet ready to go. And I call this guy, and he's like, I have 80 trades on my list. What makes you special? And I was like, I didn't know whether to be angry or be like, that is a truth bomb. Like, I was like,
he just wanted to know, like, hit me with it now because it's one chance.
Pretty much. And but it was almost, and he had that bit of sting in his voice about it. It like he must have had a shit day or something.
Or else he's just been through that many blokes at work. He's just like, right, next. Yeah. What is it?
It must have been it. Yeah. And it's probably the kick up the arse I needed. But he's like, and I was like, oh, look, I'm an electrician. I've had a bit of a hiatus. I've been away from the trade a bit, but I'm really keen to get back into it and blah, blah. And he's just like, not special. And I'm like, oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. Right.
So a bit angry, but took whatever I could away from that, and just started like studying every single business I would put my resume into. Would study what they did, who they were, who the CEO was, like who's who in the zoo, and then my resume would be directly tailored to that, and just like banging that out. And then and this is after concurrently throwing my resume, so it was starting to stack up. And I remember like the last 10, I started to get real legitimate callbacks, like. But I'd tailored it so the resume, so the army was like just dates and then Australian Army. So it wasn't really what I did. I kind of just pushed that out. Started to get callbacks, and they're like, oh, what did you do in the army? I was like, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay. And then they're like, oh, what, blah, blah. And then I'd try and get into the conversation like, but you guys what you guys really exciting. What you guys do A, B, C.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, this guy's either a nutcase or he knows what he's on. Like, he's been doing his background. Which
trying to
is
talk
refreshing.
about them more than you.
Yeah. And then they're like, sweet, can you come in for an interview?
Yeah.
So obviously, sweet, going into the interview. So, call my old man, really happy. And he's like, yeah, good son, that's how life works. You do get interviews.
Yeah.
Suit up. So yeah, on came the suit, and I was walking into job sites and having these interviews, and then ended up getting five
offers.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Blank. And and then met this really nice company. The lady there was awesome, like really, really good energy, I guess. It was really positive and really small company though. But they were like, you just keep doing you. And whatever you need from us, man, you do what you got to do. But if you can work for us, that'd be great.
That's awesome. It
was just a real humble meeting. Like it was it wasn't like, we do this, blah, blah, this. There was no thank you for your service shit or anything like that. It was like, oh, that's nice. You seem like a nice lad. Come work for us. And that's who I'm with today.
Yeah, right.
Oh, brilliant.
And been with him ever since.
So that's awesome. Your old man obviously gave some good advice. Get your trade. You've got something to fall back on. Obviously, there are lots of military personnel who don't have that luxury of something to fall back on. So I'd imagine that it's quite, re-entry into the job market for a lot of people must be really, really difficult. And even just your experience, you've got experience in a trade, but it was a difficult time. Do you think it's quite common for...
It's common.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know guys getting out now that we all talk to each other. We all try and set each other up. Some guys have been really lucky and gone back into family business, which is great. But obviously still have their transition issues and that sort of thing. But at least they got work, because at the end of the day, all we want to be is contributing members of society. Like all we want to do is work.
That's all anyone wants, isn't it?
Exactly right.
All anyone wants is to be a contributing member of society and to be accepted and belong and have a sense of purpose, right?
And that's where it comes into we're as common as you guys. Like we're just exactly like you guys. I don't really call myself a veteran. It doesn't really sit right.
But you are a veteran, right? So that's
I guess I am, but I'm also a tradie.
Of course.
And that's what they want to be too. They want to be, riggers, they want to be tradies, they want to be ringers, they want to be working class. They just want to get back on it, feed their families, make the wife happy, sort their careers.
So is being a veteran something that you're not, that you're not that open about? Or is it something that you're not, obviously you don't classify yourself as a tradie now, not a veteran, but obviously, that's the word to describe people who have served.
I guess. Yeah, well, look, it was funny, like... The word's not thrown around like we do. Like you've been to the States, and obviously they're all over it. They look after as much as they can. They look after their veterans. They're very open about thanking each other for their service. They're very patriotic in that way. But in Australia, we're very not shy. We're more we don't really wear that stuff out. We're not after that.
We don't have a very big military culture in Australia. In the States, it's a huge military culture.
Exactly right.
Here, it's far less like that. And you're right, people don't go around saying thank you for your service like I understand they do in the States.
And we don't need it.
You don't want it.
We don't need it. Like we get one thing that puts us apart from there was we're paid really well. We're one of it. Like I think when I discharge or transfer, I was earning like 75,000 a year. So,
wow, that's
a good comfy wage.
Yeah.
That's good to go. So, for them over there, they're not paid that well, so they're looked after in other ways. So, but here, I saw it as a job. It's just a job.
Yeah.
Why
should I be thanked for something compared to someone else is going to do something else?
Exactly right. None of you held a gun to my head and said you had to join.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. It's a volunteer system. So, I like that's why the veteran thing. I was kind of like I get it, but like when you have a pretty unremarkable career, it's kind of like it doesn't really sit right. But also, I remember when I first day on the job, and I was talking to somebody like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "I'm an electrician." But it felt like the biggest fake. Almost like this identity crisis.
A fraud.
Yeah, fraud. I was like, oh, jeez.
I'm an electrician, but it's been a while.
Yeah. It's like I'm not a great one, but we'll get there.
Mate, that's awesome. So I suppose to sort of close up, like why should employers out there, put veterans on or have those guys, and ladies into their business?
I think we're a lot of money put into our training and that sort of thing, and we have been fashioned in a way, but we also have a baseline that is quite common. Like, I've written things down here, but there's so many things like hard working straight off the bat. I think when you put a bunch of, if you're a flyer sitting on a wall watching what's going on out at the army barracks, guys are working hard. There's integrity. There's that real, guys are loyal too, like for the organisation and for the individual and for the team. Like, guys' moral compass, they've got a moral compass. Like, they'll look after you. Team players, punctual. I think I was here 20 minutes early.
Yeah, bloody hell, you were.
That's good.
Well presented, we'll suit up. Like, they're fast to adapt to, like, very flexible. They'll adapt to their surroundings really quickly.
I would imagine
I
would imagine a big one would be the fact that your experiences and things that you've been through don't have to define who you are moving forward, and don't have to define who you become.
Yeah.
And sure, people do go through, in serving military can go through some real strenuous and psychologically tough things. Yeah. But we're resilient, right? And so are you, and we get through it.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think if there is a healing process out there too for these guys who are getting out, being employed is one of the biggest things. It puts them in an environment where they can work with blokes like yourself. They can have conversations like you do, like you guys are promoting it. It puts them into a familiar kind of environment. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing. I think what you guys have started, like I don't generally, I'm not a part of an RSL. I'm not a part of any real, like I do the Surfing Veterans Association, that sort of thing, so I like surfing. But, what you guys are doing is starting that conversation, and I think everyone needs to. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran, a ringer, a rigger, a builder, a plumber, electrician, it doesn't matter. By starting those conversations, putting veterans into that area where they have to talk, where they might have to talk to an apprentice about their life and their life skills and that sort of thing. Like, I think it's a valuable thing to do. And
we've given you the chance to wear a bit of bloody camo again too.
Hey? I was actually thinking about that. Hey, like, you remember the Ali G movie? And they all, boys.
Mate.
You haven't watched.
So, we're probably just wrapping it up. But things now, I guess, for you, having been through, the period of time that you have through your experience, your electrical apprenticeship, your time in the military, come out, the other side. How's things for you now? How's life for you where we are?
Life's great. Life's always rocky, right?
Yeah.
It always will be. You'll have your ups, you'll have your downs. You'll have the best days of your life, your worst days of your life. You'll always be like that. But great to have a purpose, great to have a direction. And I think that's all we need, and I really appreciate it, and I'm loving life at the moment. It's fantastic. And in fact, I was like, not down, but I was a little bit flat the other day, and I actually found you guys through like a podcast app I had, and I was typed in tradie, and I was listening to Lazi.
Lazi the Sparky.
Yeah.
She's a mad dog.
Yeah, but there's a few chicks out there, eh? Like Melbourne Chippy Chick.
Yeah.
Crushing it. I think
she's killing it.
I think her and her husband are trying to get on the next block or something like that.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh, mate, she's crushing it down there. Like, how good is that to see?
Yeah.
Like, if there's got to be chicks in trades at the moment, get in now.
For sure. It's a good time. It's a good time to be a chick tradie. And there's never been a better time for anyone to try their hand at anything,
exactly.
Across the board, whether it's a trade, whether it's, you want to do your time in the military or whatever else it is. It's just have a crack. We're here for a good time, not a long time, So it's
absolutely
you got to do what you want to do and not what you think other people expect you to do.
Yeah. And look, very happy to do it too. Look, and just lastly, I'll throw it out there. Like, if there's any, I know veterans and constructions down at Melbourne are killing it at the moment. He's an ex-SASCAT. Great organisation down there. But if there are any guys out there who are struggling or just need some sort of advice, I know I've just spent an hour rambling, but if there's anything I can give them, like I'd gladly add me on Insta or whatever you got to do.
Yeah, mate. We'll chuck your details somewhere down on when we shared this out there. But yeah, always good to have a sounding board, I think, for anyone who wants to talk to someone, even someone serving who might see it, that are thinking of, getting out. Everyone's there to help each other out, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks, Jimbo.
Pleasure, guys.
Great story, mate. Appreciate your time.
Good on you.
Thank you.